Adam, are we messing up by not starting? We have to start in about 1 minute, guys, because no one's listening to me. We have to start in 1 minute because we are streaming this. If everyone could grab a seat, look at that. If everyone could grab a seat, because we are streaming, you are not the only audience, which forces us to start on time. And we're already 2 minutes past that. Let me make sure my volume is off. I'm going to ask everyone to take a moment and well, first of all, I have to take a moment to make sure we're on all our media. Adam, are we good to go? Great. So I'd like to welcome everyone here tonight. Tonight is Mystic Quest Shabbat. I'll explain what that is in a moment. We do a couple of these a year. I'd also like to welcome our Zoom, Facebook, and YouTube community. Hello, hello, hello. Also to join us. And you might notice that tonight, Cantor and I are not behind the big podiums. You might notice tonight that our lights in the sanctuary, at least in the sanctuary, are dimmed. And the idea is that we're going to be doing some meditation. We're going to be doing an extended Kabbalat Shabbat, meaning Cantor will be doing a lot of music up front, and then when we get into prayer, we'll probably run through the prayer service very quickly. And we call this Mystic Quest Shabbat because we want to focus on the mystic's quest. So many elements of our Shabbat service were actually created by the mystics, specifically the mystics of the 16th century. When we hold a Kiddush cup from the bottom, that comes from the mystics of the 16th century. When we sing to the Sabbath bride as she enters our presence, that was a piece written by the mystics of the 16th century. So a lot of what we do, we don't even realize is based in mysticism. The shape, the form that these services have taken, though, is to really look at one Hasidic master. Because the Hasidic masters were the next step after the mystics of Sfat to take the idea even further. And I'm not talking about Chabad, because Chabad is no longer really a mystic-based organization. I'm talking about the original Hasidim, the ones that started with the Baal Shem Tov in the 1700s, and the early masters. And they were basing their teachings on what they learned from the mystics of the 16th century. And I always say at the beginning of every mysticism class I teach, what is a mystic's goal? And people are like, I don't know. It's quite simple. It doesn't matter whether you're Jewish or Christian or Muslim, Buddhist. Every mystic's goal is the same. And that is to connect fully with God. And I'm not talking about singing along with the cantor and feeling good about singing. The mystics believed you're looking for that complete, true connection. And they use the word devekut, which in modern Hebrew is the root for the word stapler, and I'm thinking I'm right for this. A variation of this I was taught, I'm looking to the cantor to confirm, to stick together. And the idea is to stick with God, to be completely attached. And modern day mystics believe that this isn't a permanent state or doesn't have to be a permanent state. It can be a temporary one. So I give this longer introduction so you can understand that tonight we will be doing some singing, and that's why the lights are lowered. We'll be doing some meditation, and we'll be hearing some stories about the Maggid of Mezrich, who was the next leader after the Baal Shem Tov of the nascent, of the early Hasidic movement. So tonight, the Maggid of Mezrich. It is written, when the Maggid of Mezrich realized that he had become known throughout the world, he begged God to tell him what sin of his had brought this guilt upon him. The Maggid, he was known that he had a limp. He was nearsighted. He was afflicted with obscure pains. He trembled when he spoke in public. He ate and slept little. He lived an impoverished life by choice. And he did not want fame. Like Moses, he had great humility, anava. And yet, students flocked to him. And the idea is, when we have the world looking at us, how can we ever be humble? And he wanted to be humble. And he wanted to connect to God. And he didn't want all eyes upon him. So we're going to begin the service, because I'm done talking for this few minutes. I'm with an nigun, led by Cantor Noah.
La 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 la
Rabbi Shneir Zalman was the student of the Maggid, and he used to say, "What of prophecies, what of miracles? In the house of my teacher, the holy Maggid, you drew up the Holy Spirit by the bucketful, and miracles lay around under the benches, only that no one had the time to pick them up." It's so easy to look around us and think that everything is bad. Even now, we see a resurgence of the COVID virus. We see terrible things happening in our world environmentally. I know that I'm from Kentucky, and I have, another friend from Kentucky. And we saw the terrible natural disasters that occurred over the last week or so. And we look around us and we think everything is going in the wrong direction. But if we take a moment, we'll find miracles all around us, under our seats, in our homes, with our spouses and our friends, our children and our grandchildren. They're there. We just have to look for them. And so when we become engrossed in all these tragedies, we should take a deep breath and say, yes, those things are happening. But how? How do I redirect myself and also include in my heart and my soul, all those miracles, so I can show praise for them? We continue with Yedid Nefesh on page 636.
Yedid Nefesh Avarachman, Yedid Nefesh Avarachman, Mishoch Avdecha El Retzonecha, Mishoch Avdecha El Retzonecha Yarutz Avdecha Kemo Ayan רחמן, ידיד נפש, אב הרחמן, משוך עבדך אל רצונך, משוך עבדך אל רצונך. ירוץ עבדך כמו אייל, ישתחווה אל מול התארך.
We turn to page 130 for L'chun Aranana. Come, let us sing joyously to Adonai. Raise a shout for our rock and our deliverer. Cantor Noah.
לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה על אדוני. לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה על אדוני. נריע, נריע לצור אישנו, נקדמה פניו בתודה. נריע, נריע לצור אישנו, בזמירות נריע לו. לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה על אדוני. לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לאדוני.
We continue on page 131 with Shiru Ladonai. Let us sing a new song unto God.
שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו, ספרו בגויים כבודו, בכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים. איי 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 די 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 שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו, ספרו בגויים כבודו, בכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים.
The first time the Maggid met the Baal Shem Tov, he came to the Baal Shem Tov's village, and he waited. And he waited to be summoned by the Baal Shem Tov. And finally, one night, just before midnight, an emissary from the Baal Shem Tov came and said, "Come immediately." And that's what he did. And then at this mystical hour, this hour of midnight, the Baal Shem Tov said to him, here's a passage from the Zohar. Speak about it. And the passage was about angels. And so the Maggid, he spoke about it. And he spoke about it. And he spoke about it. And he had insights that amazed all. And then the Baal Shem Tov stopped him and said, "You know nothing." And the Baal Shem Tov stood up and began to speak on this same passage. And the Baal Shem Tov was aglow with his knowledge. The world changed in that room. And the Maggid found himself lost in a trance. The room went up in flame. And then suddenly, he found himself on the floor, waking up. And he realized that no matter how much he knew, if there was not spirit and love in his heart for that knowledge, it was meaningless. And so he stayed with the Baal Shem Tov and he studied. He studied learning how to pray and how to learn with heart and with soul, and not just with wisdom and knowledge. We continue with Psalm 97 on page 132. Or Zarua, light is for the righteous.
Or Zarua, לצדיקול ישרי לב שמחה. אור זרוע לצדיקול ישרי לב שמחה. שמחו צדיקים באדוני, באדוני, והודו לזכר קודשו, לזכר קודשו. אור זרוע לצדיקול ישרי לב שמחה. אור זרוע לצדיקול ישרי לב שמחה. שמחו צדיקים באדוני, באדוני, והודו לזכר קודשו, לזכר קודשו. אור זרוע לצדיקול ישרי לב שמחה.
Well, if the lighting and the music aren't making you a little sleepy and relaxed by now, we're going to do a meditation. We'll push you further to that edge. So I ask everyone, if you've got a book in your hand, to put it to the side. And if your feet reach the floor, have them sit flat on the floor. And sit up as straight as you can without being uncomfortable. So often we think that you have to do meditation sitting cross-legged. You don't. The idea is just to be comfortable and upright and to feel your spine rising and your chest falling. No, it's the other way around. Your chest falling and your back, chest rising and your back falling. Excuse me. So let's all take a deep breath in and hold it and let it out. Another deep breath in. Hold it. And as you exhale, let out the stresses of this week. Let them out. On this breath, take in the joys of Shabbat. Breath in. Hold on to it. Retain that joy in your heart as you blow out. One more deep breath in. Hold it. And let it out. Keep breathing in slowly and deeply. If you're able, take the toes inside of your shoes and squeeze them as tightly as possible in a little ball, holding, and release them. And now breathe in at the same time. Clench your hands into tight fists. And hold your breath and hold your clenched fists. Holding, and relax. On this deep breath, let your shoulder blades touch behind you. Deep breath in. And hold your shoulder blades together if you're able. Breathe out and relax. On this breath in, lean your neck to the left ever so gently, whatever works for you. Breathe in. Hold it there for a moment. Breathe out and return your head to center. Breathe in and drop your head to the right. Hold it there for just a second or two. Breathe out and return to center. Keep breathing in slowly and deeply as I take you on a guided journey. You stand in a field, the grass beneath your toes, you're barefoot. It's fresh. It's alive. You're at one with the earth upon which you stand. You're dressed in white. A light breeze crosses your face. The sun is about to set. You stare out into the distance and you see her, the Sabbath bride, and she moves towards you. What does she look like to you? An angel, a woman, a color, a feeling? Take a moment and imagine the Sabbath bride as you picture her. She gives you a special blessing. What words does she speak into your ears on this Shabbat? What is that blessing that you need? Take a moment and listen to her speak. And now take a moment and offer that Sabbath bride a blessing in return. The sun sets and the Sabbath bride departs. You turn and you see the flickering lights of home, and so you move toward them. A deep breath in, hold it, and let it out. And on this deep breath in, feel the warmth of community. Hold it and let it out. And on this deep breath, feel the warmth of family. Deep breath in, hold it, and let it out. We turn to page 138 for Lecha Dodi. We'll be doing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. Take that blessing the Sabbath bride gave you and place it into this melody. Feel it in your heart and your soul. And of course, on verse 9, we will rise, if we are able, and face the back door. Cantor.
Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל מיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ותפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה. מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי. אורי, אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה. תוך אמוני עם הסגולה, בואי חלה פה ייחלה. לך דודי דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
A disciple of the Maggid once wrote, "Whenever we rode to our teacher, the moment we were within the limits of the town, all of our desires were fulfilled. And if anyone happened to have a wish left, this was satisfied as soon as he entered the house of the Maggid. But if there was one amongst us whose soul was still churned up with wanting, he was at peace when he looked into the face of the Maggid of Mezrich." And so tonight, if you could not find peace in your heart, well, when we were meditating, perhaps you then found it when we were singing Lecha Dodi. And if you haven't found it yet, then find it as we light our candles. Cantor is going to sing Sadi Katimar, and after she is done doing that, I'm going to light the candles, and we're going to go straight into that blessing. You still have time to find that happiness, that joy, that peace of Shabbat, just like the Maggid's students found contentment as they got closer and closer to him. We are on page 140 of Sadik Katimar, and then directly into our candle lighting.
Sadik Katimar yifrach כארז בלבנון ישגה שתולים בבית אדוני בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו. עוד ינובון בשיבה דשנים ורעננים יהיו להגיד כי ישר אדוני צורי צורי ולא עוולת הבור. Jerry, give me B minor. Just a B minor. La 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 ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו להדליק נר וציוונו להדליק נר וציוונו להדליק נר של השבת.
The Maggid once said to his students, "I shall tell you the best way to study Torah. You must cease to be aware of yourself." A very basic mystic idea. We must lose our awareness of who we are. You must be nothing but an ear which hears the universe. And you have to hear it within yourself. And the moment you start hearing what you yourself are saying, that which the universe is telling you to say, well, then you are ready to move forward. So as we enter the Baruch Hu, followed by the Shema, may our voices be the sounds of the universe speaking to us. And may that voice of the universe, may we call it Torah. And let us sing along to the melody of all of God's creations as they come together, as the universe comes together and presents itself inside of us. And then let us share that voice with the world. We rise for the Baruch Hu, followed by the Shema, page 146 and then 152.
Lie, la, 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 lie. Lie, la, 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 lie. Lie, la, 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 lie, lie. Lie, la, 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 lie, lie. Lie, la, 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 lie. Lie, la, 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 lie, lie. Lie, la, 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 lie, lie. Lie, la, 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 lie, 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 lie. ברכו את אדוני המבורך. ברוך אדוני המבורך, המבורך לעולם ועד. המבורך, המבורך לעולם ועד. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד, שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד.
Please be seated. We continue with the Vahafta on page 154.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך. ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך. וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך. וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We continue on page 158 with the Micha Mocha, a song of freedom, a song of joy. So before Cantor leads us in it, take a moment. What could put a smile on your face right now? Whatever it is, think about it as we enter this melody. Micha Mocha.
Yada dai 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 yada dai 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 yada dai 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 מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, ידה די 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 די, ידה די די די, ידה די 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 די, ידה די די די, yada die 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 yada die 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 yada die 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 zeyli anu ve'ameru Adonai yimloch leolam leolam va'ed yada die 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 yada die 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 yada die 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 yada die 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 yada die 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 yada die 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 yada die die.
We turn to page 371 for the Misha Berach prayer. We say the Misha Berach for those who are ill of mind, body, spirit, those who have undergone tragedy, those who are suffering because they've lost someone, those who are suffering from mental health challenges, those who have physical challenges, those who have disease and illness. We say the Misha Berach for a wide range of people. I'm going to read the list that I have in front of me, but if you have additional names afterwards, I'm going to ask you to share them. And if you're on a Zoom right now, feel free to start typing names in, and when we get to you, Adam will read those names out loud. Jim Banlin, Richard Barrett, David Berger, Bella Kane, Gil Charish, Miles Dietz, Micah Enberg, Diane Fantel, Sharon Feist, George Gugassi, Bonnie Halpern, Bill Harris, Jessica Israelite, Sarah Knopf, Ramon Lucendo, Adrian Martison, Jackie Jean Michaels, Phil Oberman, Bryn Pime, Brandon Rapport, Brendy Rosenblum, Beverly Rosov, Marvin Sagerman, Gail Silva, Rose Sillerick, Esther Weissman, Eric Smith, Henny Weisfokel, Devorah Chaya Bat Miriam Visvitov, Zvi Hillel ben Ratzalah Veshayahu. Of course, we think about all those who are still suffering because of those tornadoes that occurred in the Midwest and the South, and those caring for those who are ill. If you have any additional names, share them with us now. Sylvia Nemitov. Misha Barak Avatenu Vimatenu, may the God of our ancestors grant our Fuah Shlema a complete and full healing to all those we hold in our hearts and to all those we have named, and to all those that we care about. And together we say, Amen. The singing of Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi shebeirach imotenu מקור הברכה לאבותינו. Bless those in need of healing with רפואה שלמה, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say
If you ever thumb through Martin Buber's Tales of the Hasidim, you're going to find this story under almost every Hasidic master. And the story goes that after the great intellect, the great Tzaddik's death, the students come together, and they always tell the same story. And so for the Maggid of Mezrich, one of the students said, "Do you know why our master went to the pond every day at dawn and stayed there for a little while before coming home again?" And in every version of this story, the students do not know why. And so then that lead student says, he was learning the song of the frogs, the one that they use to praise God. And it takes a very long time to learn that song. And you read this version of this story, it comes up again and again. Sometimes it's birds, frogs, fish, you name the animal, but every Hasidic master seemed to go into the woods just to listen, just to connect. And so often I know when I tell these stories, people think I'm telling the same story over and over, but it's actually attached to different Hasidic masters. And I think the idea that if you want to reach a higher level of connection, you need to also be aware of nature and of animals and to listen to them before you can take that next mystic step. And so every mystic master went through that process. And that's why every one of them has a story of this type attributed to them. So we're going to rise for the Amidah, and as we do, think about the things you listen to. Do you listen to the wind in the morning? Do you listen to the birds? What do you listen to that gives you a special prayer? A prayer that's not in our language, but in another. We rise, page 164, for the Amidah. Tonight, we will only be doing Adonai Sifatai Tiftach, and then we will be praying silently. Cantor.
Adonai Sifatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid Eilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise.
Through page 180, and then you may be seated.
חסד ייבנה, ידדי, ידדי, עולם חסד ייבנה, ידדי, ידדי, עולם חסד ייבנה, עולם חסד ייבנה, I will build this world from love. You must build this world from love. If we build this world from love, then God will build this world from love.
In the time of the Maggid, there was a well-to-do merchant, and he refused to have anything to do with the Maggid because he did not believe in these weird mystical ideas. But he did believe in study, and every day he would study the day through. You see, in this period, there were those who studied the text who wanted to literally follow every law, and then those who wanted to take a mystical journey. And of course, he also had a business. He spent 2 hours a day working, and then he left his wife behind to care for his shop. Literally how the story goes. But besides those 2 hours of work, he was studying all the time. And then one day he meets two young men who are from another village, and they look so alive, and he says to them, "Where are you going?" And they're like, "Well, of course, we're going to the home of the Maggid. It's this great place. We want to hang out there." And he's so taken with their enthusiasm that he follows along. And he becomes also taken with this great teacher. And he decides to spend his time studying there instead of at the study hall, doing the more traditional study. And now the problem is, the more he studies the Maggid, for whatever reason, the worse his business does. And soon he finds himself broke. And so he goes to the Maggid and he complains and he says, "No, you've taken me on this great mystical journey, and now my wife and I are completely poverty-struck." And so the Maggid shrugs his shoulders because he lives in poverty. That's the way he liked to live. And he said, "He who wants to become really smart, you head in one direction. You head south. And if you want to become rich, you head in another direction, north. But it's impossible for someone to want to become wise and also rich, because you're heading in two directions." And the man said, "What? But I need to do both. I have a large family." And the Maggid said, "Don't worry. There's a way you can both be wise and rich at the same time." And what it came down to was understanding spirituality, connection to God. He said, the more you deepen your spirituality, the more your wisdom and your riches will grow. How many of us say, one day I'll be happy, or one day I'll have enough money, or one day I'll be wise, and then we never take the actions to make it happen because we're too busy just dealing with our daily life? I also begin to think, I was thinking about Shark Tank today. Who watches Shark Tank here? Anyone? Just me? About 3 people. Great, more hands are going up. Have we ever watched Shark Tank and you see the people who are just too all over the place? I've got this business. Oh, by the way, I have another business. Oh, by the way, I have another business. Oh, by the way, I have another business. And the sharks won't do business with them because they're too distracted. It reminded me of the Maggid because what he's saying is when you're distracted, when you're going both north and south at once, nothing is going to happen. What you need to do is focus. Focus on your spirituality. And then as you focus on spirituality, you're going to find that you have some innate wisdom and then also some riches. But this is where the Maggid was trying to trick people. He really wasn't talking about monetary riches. He was talking about spiritual riches. That richness we have from, being together. That richness we have with community, with Judaism, with love, with caring for one another. He wasn't really talking about dollars, but he didn't tell that to the merchant who lost everything. So that's the big secret. Once we find our spiritual riches, we might not care about finding physical riches. And according to the mystics, true riches come from holy connection, not from wisdom or a large bank account. So my blessing for this community tonight, may you bring your heart to every word you say. May you realize that bucketfuls of blessings surround you. May you look into the face of those you respect and love and find contentment. And may you remember to listen to the world around you and not just your own voice. And may you find spiritual riches by being present in each and every moment. And there might you find holy connection. And together we say, Amen. And now I'm going to ask Lisa Sage to come on forward. I know that she's our board member tonight who is making some announcements. I know Lisa's been planning a busy February for us because it's Jewish Disability and Inclusion Month. So be ready for those activities as they come. I want to put you right back here, Lisa. Do you want to do it from down there? Yeah. You can be our seventh bride and do it between the two candles. You got it?
I think so.
Yeah, it's on.
Sorry, I just don't want to drop it. Or drop my paper. Thank you, Cantor. Is it on? Yeah. Thank you, Cantor, for your technical assistance with the microphone. And for, of course, your beautiful music, as always, and your voice. And thank you, Rabbi John, especially being here on your birthday. I never like to work on my birthday, so you're a very special guy. Thank you for doing that for us. Happy birthday, Rabbi John. And may you have many more. And I think we're going to sing to him after, so I won't take the time to do that now. Yeah, me too. I'm the same age. Have fun. I had my birthday in August. Yeah, we're both old. Over the hill, as they say. So I also want to thank Sandy Banner for sponsoring this evening's Oneg in honor of Rabbi John's birthday. Our next two Shabbats, December 24th and 31st, will be online only. We look forward to seeing everyone in person on Friday, January 7th. Here are a few events that you should definitely sign up for now. Our adult B'nai Mitzvah class is starting January 9th, which is a Sunday. You'll learn the fundamentals of prayer book Hebrew, study tefillot, I hope I said that right, prayers, and practice the art of reading Torah. You'll also learn how to read Hebrew, I remember from the class I had before. And our annual poker tournament is happening February 6th. Save the date for our annual gala, happening May 14th. Our offices will have limited hours over the next 2 weeks due to the holidays, but staff will be checking emails. If you have anything important only, please just send the most important stuff to them. Our ECC is growing and looking forward to welcoming new students in January. If you know anyone looking for an amazing preschool experience, please have them email our director, who is Paula. And her email is on the website, and I believe it's in your Shabbat Shalom sheet. Yeah, on the back. Keep your eyes open for our emails and visit kultikva.org for all registrations and even more events. Thank you for joining us tonight. And please join us after services for cake and champagne in honor of Rabbi John's birthday. I'm not going to say the number, but we all know. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you.
Yeah. I've been avoiding my birthday all day, I promise. Let's see. We turn to page 598 for the Mourner's Kaddish. We take a moment and we think about those who have recently departed. On our list, Lenny Pasternak, remembered by the Pasternak family. Gertrude Drucker, remembered by the Dorn and Drucker families. And Rebecca Mann, remembered by the Ames and Mann families. We also think of those who died during this season in years past. Karl Berov, no, I'm going to try one more time. Susan worked with me because it's a relative. Berov, is that correct? Okay, I want to make sure I got that right. David Beich, Sarah Braveman, Sig Corman, Giselle Frankfurter, Kurt Frankfurter, Philip Garish, Bunny Katz, Glenda Krugman, James Krugman, Walter A. Marks, Ilan Ben Menachem, Morris Miller, Murray Morgulin, Samuel Nyberg, Marta Newman, Thomas Ronayne, Paula Rubin, Louis Sal, Elsie Schachter, Jean Sklar, Eleanor Shapiro, Mo Schenkin, Abe Siegel, Al Stein, William Harry Stern, Ralph Thompson, Bernard Zwick, and Paula Rubin. If you have an additional name for our Kaddish or Yortzeit list, please share the name with us now. If you're in the first 7 days of mourning, Shiva, I ask you to please rise. If you're in the first 30 days of mourning, Shloshim, I ask you to please rise. If you're in the first year of mourning, I ask you to please rise. If you're observing a Yortzeit, I ask you to stand. And now I ask the rest of the community to rise to show our love and support for all those who stood before us. We turn to page 598. We place in our hearts those who have passed, and we say the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yikadash shmei Rabbah. V'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon v'yamechon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. B'agalav v'zman kariv v'imru. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarak le'olam u'lamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudsha b'rechu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru, amen. May the one who makes peace on high grant peace to all who mourn, to all Israel and to all humankind. And together we say, amen. Please put your arm around those next to you if you know them, and if you don't, ask their permission first. Closing song, here we go.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום ועל כל ישראל ועל כל העולם.
Let's all hold up our imaginary glasses. Mine's not imaginary, obviously, but you can all hold up imaginary glasses of grape juice. Hopefully a year from now we'll have real glasses of grape juice once again. Here we go, short version tonight.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן. לחיים.
Let me get the challah.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, המוציא לחם מן הארץ בתיאבון.
Shabbat shalom, everybody. We've got some oneg in the next room.
And a little bit of singing.
And if anyone would like some challah, I'm going to put it right down here.